In the heart of a small town, nestled deep within the countryside, stood a house that had long been abandoned by its former inhabitants. The once grand structure had fallen into disrepair, its once vibrant paint now faded and chipped, its windows shattered and boarded up. The mere sight of it sent shivers down the spines of all who dared to venture near. Legends and rumors surrounded the house, passed down through generations of fearful townsfolk. They spoke of an unseen entity that had taken up residence within its dilapidated walls, an otherworldly presence that whispered eerie secrets and inflicted unimaginable horrors upon those who entered. The locals had dubbed it the House of Whispers. The tales of the house's haunting were as varied as they were chilling. Some claimed to have heard disembodied voices echoing through the halls, their words a jumbled mess of whispers and moans. Others spoke of strange apparitions that appeared and disappeared without warning, their ghostly forms lingering in the corner of one's eye. There were even stories of individuals who had entered the house, never to be seen or heard from again, swallowed whole by the malevolent force that resided within. The townsfolk, bound by fear and superstition, had learned to keep their distance from the house. It became a forbidden place, avoided at all costs, with children warned never to play near its crumbling foundation. But despite the warnings, curiosity tugged at the edges of their minds, a desire to uncover the truth that lay hidden behind its decaying facade. As a writer of the macabre, I found myself drawn to the allure of the House of Whispers. Its dark history beckoned me, begging to be unraveled, its mysteries begging to be exposed. Armed with a notebook filled with blank pages and a voice recorder to capture any strange occurrences, I made the decision to spend the night within its haunted confines, to face the unseen entity that lay in wait. Nervously, I approached the house under the cover of darkness, the moon casting an eerie glow upon its weathered exterior. The air was heavy with anticipation, a palpable energy that tingled on my skin. With each step I took towards the front door, the whispers of the entity seemed to grow louder, their ethereal voices carried on the wind. I paused for a moment, my hand hovering inches away from the doorknob. Doubt and fear waged a battle within me, threatening to pull me away from the path I had chosen. But the writer in me yearned for the truth, for the stories that lay hidden within those haunted walls. Summoning all my courage, I turned the knob and stepped inside, the door creaking ominously behind me. The house greeted me with an icy chill, its air thick with a sense of foreboding. The dim light from my flashlight cast eerie shadows upon the decaying wallpaper, revealing glimpses of the house's former grandeur. It was then that I first heard it, a soft whisper that danced on the edge of my hearing. It was a voice without a source, a language that seemed both familiar and unknown. The whisper spoke of forgotten secrets, of the pain and suffering that had taken place within these very walls. They carried with them a weight of sorrow and malice, a residue of the unseen entity's presence. I shivered, not from the cold, but from the realization that I had entered a realm beyond the ordinary. The unseen entity had acknowledged my presence, and now it watched, waited, and whispered its dark intentions. Little did I know that the horrors that awaited me within the House of Whispers were beyond anything I could have ever imagined. As midnight struck, I found myself standing in the heart of the House of Whispers, its ominous atmosphere enveloping me like a suffocating fog. With each passing second, the sense of anticipation grew stronger, electrifying the air around me. The darkness seemed to come alive, swirling and shifting with unseen energy. I took a tentative step forward, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The floorboards groaned beneath my weight, their protests adding an eerie symphony to the whispers that emanated from the walls. It was as if the very structure of the house itself was alive, pulsating with the presence of the unseen entity. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew through the hallway, extinguishing the feeble glow of my flashlight. I was plunged into darkness, a void that seemed to devour all light. Panic gripped me, tightening its icy grip around my heart. But amidst the darkness, I could feel a presence, an unseen force that was now inches away from me. Whispers filled the air, soft at first, like a gentle breeze rustling through leaves. But they grew louder, more insistent, until they became a cacophony of voices, their words overlapping and intertwining in a maddening chorus. The unseen entity was making its presence known, its spectral breath caressing my skin, its words echoing within the depths of my mind. With trembling hands, I fumbled for my voice recorder, desperately trying to capture the ethereal voices that surrounded me. The device crackled to life, its red light providing a small beacon of hope in the suffocating darkness. I held my breath, straining to decipher the messages that were being whispered from beyond the veil. The voices spoke of forgotten tragedies, of lives lost and souls trapped within the house's haunted walls. They told tales of despair and anguish, their words dripping with sorrow and longing. I could sense the entity's frustration, its yearning to be heard, to share its torment with the living. As the whispers continued, I felt a chill run down my spine, as if a ghostly hand had grazed my neck. Shadows danced on the walls, their distorted forms flickering in the dim light of the recorder. It was as if the unseen entity was manifesting its presence, a specter desperate to make contact with the world of the living. The air grew heavier, suffused with an otherworldly energy. I could feel eyes upon me, though there was nothing to see in the darkness. The unseen entity was watching, studying my every move, testing the limits of my courage. A voice, distinct from the others, rose above the whispers. It was a voice filled with malice and hunger, a voice that sent a shiver down my spine. "Leave this place," it commanded, its words laced with a sinister power. But I was determined to uncover the truth, to face the entity that held the house captive. With renewed resolve, I ventured deeper into the haunted house, guided by the whispers that seemed to beckon me forward. Each step felt like a dance with the unknown, a perilous journey into the heart of darkness. The entity had revealed itself, and now, I was its unwilling companion in this macabre dance of the supernatural. As the night wore on, I found myself venturing further into the House of Whispers, the unseen entity's grip tightening with each step. The air grew thick with an oppressive energy, an icy presence that seeped into my bones. It was as if the very atmosphere was charged with the malevolent force that resided within. The temperature plummeted, freezing the very breath in my lungs. I could see my exhales forming misty clouds in the frigid air. Goosebumps prickled my skin as a sense of unease settled deep within me. It was as if the house itself was alive, its decaying walls pulsating with an otherworldly power. In a room adorned with decaying furniture, I witnessed the true extent of the unseen entity's malevolence. The air crackled with an electricity I could feel on my skin, sending shivers down my spine. The room transformed into a chaotic dance of terror as objects began to move of their own accord. Books flew off shelves, their pages flipping madly as they soared through the air. Chairs toppled over with a crash, splintering upon impact. The once still atmosphere erupted with a symphony of chaos, as if the unseen force reveled in its power to manipulate the physical realm. A chilling laughter filled the air, a sound that seemed to echo from every corner of the room. It was a laughter devoid of joy, twisted and haunting, a cruel mockery of the living. The entity delighted in the chaos it created, its laughter resonating deep within my soul. Fear clutched at my heart, threatening to paralyze me. But curiosity and a hunger for truth pushed me forward, even as the room seemed to distort and warp around me. The walls pulsed with a sickly energy, their faded wallpaper morphing into grotesque faces that leered at me with malicious intent. I could feel eyes upon me, unseen gazes piercing through the veil of reality. Shadows danced on the walls, their forms contorting into twisted shapes that seemed to taunt my very existence. The malevolent force reveled in its ability to manipulate the world around me, to defy the laws of nature and plunge me into a realm of nightmarish uncertainty. I stood, a witness to this spectral chaos, my voice recorder capturing the symphony of terror that unfolded before me. Every sound, every creak and groan, every whisper and distorted laughter, served as a testament to the unseen entity's power. But amidst the fear, a flicker of defiance ignited within me. I refused to become a mere victim of the house's horrors. With determination in my heart, I pressed on, my footsteps echoing through the haunted corridors, echoing the beating of my own heart. Little did I know that the malevolent force that resided within the House of Whispers was far from finished with me. Its power, its ability to manipulate reality, was just the tip of the iceberg. The horrors that awaited me in the depths of the house were beyond anything I could have fathomed, a testament to the insidious nature of the unseen entity that dwelled within. As the night progressed, the unseen entity within the House of Whispers revealed its true power. It was not content with mere physical manifestations and whispered secrets. It sought to unleash a torrent of nightmarish visions upon my fragile psyche. The once stable reality I knew began to warp and distort, blurring the line between what was real and what existed only within the realm of my imagination. Distorted faces leered at me from cracked mirrors, their features contorted into grotesque masks of terror. I could feel their penetrating gazes, their eyes boring into my soul, stripping away my sanity. Spectral figures emerged from the shadows, their forms ethereal and twisted. They lurched down the hallways with an unnatural gait, their movements both erratic and purposeful. Their ghostly whispers filled the air, their words a cacophony of despair and anguish. It was as if the very essence of the house had taken on corporeal form, haunting my every step. Footsteps echoed through the empty rooms, footsteps that did not belong to me. The sound of distant laughter reverberated through the halls, a maddening chorus that echoed in my mind. The house itself seemed to come alive, its walls pulsating with a malevolent energy, feeding off the terror it instilled. Blood-stained footprints materialized before me, leading me deeper into the abyss. The floor beneath me seemed to shift and writhe, as if it had a mind of its own. Each step I took felt like treading on the unstable ground of my own sanity, the boundaries of reality dissolving before my very eyes. Visions of past horrors plagued my mind, as if the entity sought to share its own torment with me. Images of unspeakable acts of violence and suffering flashed before my eyes, searing themselves into my consciousness. The unseen force reveled in my anguish, feeding off my fear like a parasitic entity. I could no longer trust my own senses. Shadows danced and writhed on the walls, their forms twisting into grotesque shapes that taunted my perception. The very air felt heavy with the weight of unseen eyes, watching my every move, penetrating the core of my being. I clutched my voice recorder tightly, its red light now a feeble beacon of hope amidst the swirling madness. I struggled to maintain my grip on reality, desperate to capture the macabre symphony of horror that engulfed me. But the entity was not satisfied with its twisted display. It sought to break me, to shatter my fragile hold on reason. It whispered into my mind, planting seeds of doubt and despair. Its ethereal voice slithered through my thoughts, sowing the seeds of madness and chaos. As the night wore on, I felt myself slipping further into a nightmarish abyss. The visions intensified, the line between reality and illusion blurring until it was nothing more than a hazy mirage. My own reflection in the broken mirrors twisted into a grotesque parody of myself, a reminder of the monstrous presence that dwelled within the house. In the depths of despair, a flicker of determination emerged. I refused to succumb to the entity's twisted games. With a trembling resolve, I mustered every ounce of strength I had left and pressed on, my footsteps echoing through the haunted corridors, a defiant cadence amidst the chaos. Little did I know that the unseen entity had one final torment in store for me, a desperate escape that seemed impossible within the clutches of this malevolent force. The House of Whispers held its secrets tightly, and I was but a pawn in its sadistic game. As the first rays of morning sunlight pierced through the grimy windows of the House of Whispers, a glimmer of hope shone amidst the lingering darkness. The entity's grip seemed to loosen slightly, allowing a sliver of respite amidst the relentless terror. With newfound determination, I stumbled towards the front door, my legs heavy and weak from the night's horrors. The house seemed to resist my escape, its corridors shifting and elongating, as if to taunt my desperate attempts to leave its clutches. Just as my trembling hand reached for the doorknob, a bone-chilling whisper filled the air, slicing through the silence like a knife. "You can never leave," it hissed, its voice laced with a cruel certainty. Panic surged through my veins, threatening to overwhelm my resolve. In a malevolent twist of fate, the door slammed shut with a resounding thud, trapping me inside once again. The entity had no intention of letting me escape its clutches, reveling in the power it held over my fate. Desperation welled within me as I pounded on the door, pleading for release, but my cries fell on deaf ears. The unseen force tightened its grip, its presence more suffocating than ever before. The whispers returned, louder and more persistent, like a chorus of demented voices, taunting me from every corner. The house itself seemed to pulse with dark energy, as if feeding off my fear and despair. In my darkest moment, a realization washed over me. Escape from this nightmare required more than physical means. It demanded a battle of wills, a defiance against the malevolent force that sought to break me. With a flicker of inner strength, I resolved to resist, to find a way to outsmart the entity that held me captive. I retraced my steps, navigating the labyrinthine corridors with a newfound determination. The house seemed to twist and warp around me, its very layout shifting in an attempt to confuse and disorient me. But I clung to my resolve, relying on my instincts to guide me through the maze of terror. Amidst the chaos, I stumbled upon an ancient book, its worn pages filled with cryptic symbols and incantations. It spoke of ancient rituals and protective spells, whispered remedies to banish dark forces. With a desperate hope, I began to chant the words, invoking the power of light and protection. As the incantation flowed from my lips, a surge of energy pulsed through the house, pushing back against the malevolent force. Shadows recoiled, their tendrils shrinking away from the radiant glow of my determination. The entity's whispers grew fainter, their power diminishing in the face of my defiance. With each word, each syllable, the barrier between the realms weakened, allowing a sliver of light to permeate the darkness. It was a battle of wills, a test of strength and resilience. But I refused to surrender, fighting with every ounce of my being to break free from the clutches of the House of Whispers. Finally, as the last words of the incantation escaped my lips, a brilliant surge of light burst forth, shattering the oppressive darkness. The walls of the house trembled, its foundation rattled, as if the very fabric of the entity's existence was crumbling. With a final, defiant push, the door swung open, bathing the once haunted halls in sunlight. I stepped outside, gasping for the fresh air that filled my lungs. The House of Whispers stood behind me, a fading memory of a nightmarish ordeal that would forever haunt my dreams. But I emerged victorious, forever changed by the horrors I had faced. The unseen entity, while still lurking within the abandoned house, had been defeated, its power weakened by my indomitable spirit. And though the whispers may persist, I carry with me the strength to resist, a reminder of the triumph over the darkness that threatened to consume me. Note, the story presented here is a work of fiction, conjured from the depths of imagination. Any resemblance to real locations, events, or entities is purely coincidental.